I have to say as well, dude, I fucking love your shirt because the Cybertronic Spree is legitimately one of the greatest concerts I've been to of all time. They're from Canada, of course. And what they do is they dress up as the Transformers and play songs not only from the soundtrack, but also just other 80s hits. And I actually gave Hot Rod, who's like the lead singer, a high five as he's singing "Don't You Forget About Me," dude. It's she was amazing.
Yeah,
Like
that's right. Yeah.
it was like I mean, yo, actually I have it posted on YouTube somewhere. But anyway, Cybertronics Free is like the joke is the goat. They're the shit. They're legit. Um,
Totally, totally. First saw him 2 years ago. I went with a buddy of mine, and he brought his sister, and eventually brought his wife over too, because we're local to the venue that Cybertronic Spree was playing, and yeah, it was such a blast, man. And I won my way like toward the front, like
oh
right in
yeah,
the
I was
front.
at the front.
Yeah,
RC was right in front of me, and she's got pipes, man.
first time I saw them, they took a picture, as they always do, of themselves with the audience. I was in that group picture that they posted for the Oaks PA venue. I guess I'm a groupie. So, but yeah, I've wanted this shirt since like 2 years ago because I the only thing I was had money enough for was their CD cover, or their all their covers of the Transformers animated movie soundtrack. So I got a CD at the show 2 years ago, but I didn't have enough money for a shirt. So second time around, it's like, all right, yeah, I'm definitely getting the shirt. I try to get out to the movies now and then. You see, and I think you saw Transformers 1. You saw a special screening of that like well in advance of
Yeah,
it.
I was very fortunate. I got to take my kids to see that
So
the
how
week
do you do
before
that?
it came out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a week before.
well, so my son, old enough to have access to the internet, he's 13. He's a huge Transformers fan. Like he knows more about Transformers than I might ever know. And he follows all this stuff. And um, they announced somewhere that they were going to just do advanced screenings. They're just one showing per theater. They did it at quite a few theaters.
Mhm.
Um, to be honest, if I can get to a theater that's doing it within a half an hour to an hour, they're doing it at a lot of theaters.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, it was public, but not public.
Yeah.
They didn't have like advertisements for it, but they talked about it in a few different places that my son caught. So he sent the link to me and was like, "Can we please go see this?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's find a way to make it work." And then we were able to get tickets. Because that's the other advantage to where I live is that um, even though they found theaters nearby, there's also not a ton of people around me, so it was pretty easy to get the tickets. So that was really cool.
You liked it, right?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I checked it out the other week. And Andrew, did you see it? New Transformers?
As a matter of fact, I did. I guess we're doing this. So again, I guess first of all, one of the things that makes this really, I think, organic, is that when me and Bryant met for the first time in New York City after knowing each other over a decade, we met because we went and saw one of the Transformers movies, I think Rise of the Beasts, I think we saw. Yo, all right. First of all, you were talking to one of the biggest G1 Transformers fans in the universe. I mean, I actually know the script to the entire A6 film. I can do the music, I can do the sound effects. It's not normal, okay? And I've been able to do this since I was like uh 10 years old because that's when I saw the movie when it came out on
Mhm.
VHS. I recorded it on tape and fell asleep to it every night. So that's how I know it all. Anyway, I will start by I think we've already covered this movie on this show prior where I wasn't here.
Mhm.
So this is more about like, my take on it. I think Brian, you can share your take on it as well.
Okay.
But what I will say is the main headline is holy crap. I am a tough critic. I've not been happy with any Transformers since the movie, really. But so I've been starving for so long for a good movie that even Bumblebee, I was like just thankful that you actually had like G1 accurate scenes on Cybertron. When the commercials for this movie came out, I thought, oh, great, it's like Toy Story, Minions version of Transformers
For
again,
sure.
snark, you know.
For
But
sure.
when you watch the movie and it goes on, I mean, first of all, the Easter eggs up the
Yeah.
yazoo.
Oh,
So
everywhere.
basically, I'll just say this. I
Everywhere.
was
Yeah.
thoroughly satisfied, and I am proud because it is 89% critics, 98% audience. Okay. This movie is kicking butt, I think, critically. I think commercially, it's not doing as well as it probably needed to.
No.
Whatever. I think it's the reason why is because it's a bit more complex than the average like human wants to deal with.
And
And that's why
I think they advertised it poorly.
they did.
I
And wrong.
think it was advertised more childish than it is. And to be
Yes.
fair, like it is very accessible for young kids. Like it's not so bad that like kids can't watch it, right? Like it's fine. You could take an 8-year-old to this and at least explain away some of the stuff that might maybe is a little dark, right? And be fine. Like we watched Transformers the movie at 10 and they blew a hole through Optimus Prime's chest. So I think like you're okay, right? But um this was a definitely as it went on. It I told you in text like for me when this movie started it felt a little young and I was a little worried. By the end it was adult, mature, smart, intelligent, character development everywhere. Like it was it was great.
I'm holding back, guys. But
Don't.
no, no, I'm going to be saying more. Again, and Brian, I want to make sure you're feeling included as well, man. Did you want to like a few lines? Like, we don't want to keep it balanced. So, like, no one's going to dominate. We're all going to contribute.
No, it's all right. It's no, it's yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing it again because yeah, it was so well done, so well done. To be honest, going into it, I wasn't really keen on the whole like oh, Megatron and Optimus Prime, they were best friends or virtually brothers. It's like and so it is. I think very much a retcon. You know,
Sure.
because this relationship was never mentioned before, right? And there's still also if they wanted to, they could either like just continue from this point on, just essentially make a new continuity. It's a different continuity anyway because it's a new Transformers story. Whether it ties into like either the current live action movies or not, you know, I think it would in a way serve itself best by just doing its own thing. You know,
For sure.
yeah, Easter eggs galore. They paid homage to the first film, but it's like when Orion Pax gets talked down and it's like, yeah, you have neither the power nor the touch, or some
Yeah.
along I might
Yeah.
have reversed it. Well, ScarJo, she had the best best line to correct me. It's like she was so furious as Wolverine was with Deadpool. Just calling them like incredibly stupid, ignoramus GoBots. Along this line, but GoBots was in it. I'm maybe misquoting left and right, but when she said GoBots, I just
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the voice cast did a really good job. I read that, I not read, I watched Chris Hemsworth actually said, I'm not even going to try to be Peter Cullen. Okay, I'm going to do my own thing. But whether you're Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime, Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron, there's layers there that I may or may not go with. But I'm just going to just say that, leave it at that. Scarlett, she killed it. John Hamm as Sentinel Prime, I didn't realize that was him,
Dude,
dude.
it took me forever because I was like, I know that. I know who that is. I just couldn't get there. It was driving me
Yeah,
crazy.
he did a really good job as I mean like the whole and then Alpha Trion and then Bumblebee was hilarious as Keegan Michael Key. I mean they were really the ones and I didn't really like Starscream. I'll be honest with you. I Steve Buscemi with Starscream. I liked how he was introduced, but like I just was like and Starscream as a kid when I was a kid he was actually my favorite one, dude. Like now
He's
I hate him.
the problem I
But
think is for those of us that grew up with Starscream
just
and
like
Cobra
right.
Commander, like
Yes.
that is such a unique voice and character. Like if you watch any of the cartoons that have come since, people have tried really hard to replicate that and it doesn't work. So I think they were trying to do something different. Like Buscemi has a specific sound to his voice
Yeah.
that works without being the same, but I get it. Like I kind of dug it, but my son didn't. Like he was like, "Nah, that's not
Yeah.
cool." So it definitely mileage would vary
He had
on him.
more of like a Joe Pesci kind of gangster thing going on
Hmm.
there. And I was just like, nah. Like there's a G.I. Joe Resolute that came out, and the person who did Cobra Commander, Charlie Adler is his name. He did a really good job. It was a lower register version of Chris Latta's, and it sounded more gangster. That's who I would have gotten personally. But now I want to go back to like the Easter eggs in the story itself. Like, so I immediately recognize Sunstreaker, Ironhide,
Mhm.
Prowl,
Yeah.
like
Or Fiend.
Sideswipe, Hound, Ironhide, Ratchet, Wheeljack. Like
Yep.
they
Yep.
were all there. And here's the thing about like the 80s versus the 90s. In the 90s and on, storytelling became more about a tighter cast, like maybe 4 or 5 people. But in the 80s, like with G.I. Joe and Transformers, you had whole fleets of characters.
Because they had to
And
sell them
I like,
toys.
yeah, yeah, it sells toys. But I personally gravitates towards that. Attack on Titan. No, but I gravitates towards that because to me, it is more sophisticated storytelling, in my opinion. So seeing like, and then Jazz finally not being this like, what up, dude person, like he's actually like the original Jazz is great. Now, Kevin, one of the things you said was like how you said it was an origin story for Megatron, and I felt like it was an origin story for both of them equally because when I'm watching Orion Pax, I'm thinking to myself, that's Hot Rod. Like it's crazy to
Yes,
me
for sure.
that like
For sure.
Optimus Prime is literally this like super optimistic, like yeah, dude, hang loose, like just like crazy guy, you
Yeah,
know.
it was something. Yeah, it was so different. It was so different from yeah, Optimus Prime.
But it worked because the thing is, like, because it makes again the movie better because at the end of the day, this irresponsible, optimistic guy ends up being worthy of the Matrix. The fact that they actually brought back the Matrix to leadership, the fact that and Megatron, I'm sorry, like he was giving me like serious. I know I did talk about not dominating, but here I go. He was giving me serious Magneto. Like if you saw the end of X-Men First Class and Kevin Bacon is like the bad big bad, he's basically Sentinel Prime. So, when you've got a big bad and then you've got like another guy who's like good but has a dark side and has to basically grow up and become even badder than the big bad, and that's what makes I mean, I definitely think Megatron needed to be handled, like for sure. But man, that rage and the way he just became like, and even the after credit scene, man, I just thought, again, I didn't go into the sociological stuff, but like I just thought, like Thanos before him, I thought that he was a very understandable,
For sure.
sympathetic villain.
Well, that was my argument for it being more of a Megatron origin story because I think Megatron had farther to go. Orion Pax was a screw up, but he was always still trying to do the right thing. Like he cared about people. He was a good guy. He just had to be willing to sacrifice himself for everyone, but it didn't ever feel like he wasn't going to be that guy. Like D16 starts off as a similar guy. He just sees everything that's happening in a different light. Everything that's happening makes him angry. He wants to stop these people. They want the same thing in a different way, right? Like Orion Pax wants to figure stuff out, wants to save people, do all this, and D16. The longer he goes, the more angry he gets. Just wants them dead. He's like, get these people out of the way. We can rebuild from the ashes. Like, let's go. Like Orion Pax is like, we have a great world. Let's build on top of that. D16 slash Megatron is like, burn it to the ground and we will start over. Just get all the back.
Once they got more power, I mean, I mean, I guess I am thinking a bit about the quote, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They're they're definitely not, omnipotent beings, but they're certainly more powerful than they were when we started off, and like the super soldier serum can do, it
Amplify.
makes good great, it makes bad worse. I think that's what had happened between the two. So I guess I'm thinking more like Captain America Red Skull lines. No,
But to
no,
me, it's like it's sociologically speaking, like a lot of times when you have revolution or revolutionary people, like a lot of times what they'll want to do is they'll want to like they feel trapped in the system, and then when they get power, they want to destroy everything and just start all over, you know, and like someone like what's his name? Killmonger in Black
Hmm.
Panther. So I think that the Megatron character does reflect real human like behavior. And when you talk about absolute power corrupting absolutely whatever, I mean, Orion Pax became Optimus Prime. He was the
yeah,
most powerful bot on that planet. And what did he do with that power? He protected everyone. So to me, I think that blaming the power is not the way to go. And it was nice to finally see that. You know, but the brilliance of the Matrix is the Matrix will which gives you that power only will appear for someone who's worthy. And the fact that they even tied in the word Autobot to be no longer just about we're cars, but it's about freedom and autonomy is
Hmm.
the right of all sentient beings. Holy crap, way to like
yeah, yeah,
honor the past and add to it and enhance it and make it better. And that's the thing that I think that a lot of creators like get wrong. Okay. Ryan Johnson, if you want to change something, that's fine. But if you change it, make it better. And that to me is what a lot of creators get wrong, but this movie got right. Even the quote of like, you know, I accept your terms. When Prime says that, that is what Megatron says to Unicron. Unicron says, you know, proceed on your way to oblivion. And Megatron's like, no, no, I accept your terms. I accept. And he's turned to Galvatron. You know, it's like there's so many callbacks to G1, it's not even funny.
yeah.
I've never seen a film that is like new. Like the closest thing to that would be Star Trek 2009, and even that didn't get do it the way this did. I'm okay with this being a reboot. You know, I'm okay with Megatron not being the gladiator that, you know, Optimus Prime looked up to as Orion Pax, or you know, the brother of like Ultra Magnus in the Netflix series. This is, and the fact that like the Decepticons were originally just like the protectors or whatever, the guardians, and Starscream was like the original. Like even the fact that we know Starscream's going to try to like usurp him over and over again. Yo, sorry, I'm talking too much, but I have to do this.
Go
Like
ahead.
even the way Soundwave stops Shockwave from like, you know, he's like let it play out. Like
Yeah.
that was the beginning of like the Soundwave Megatron loyalty thing, dude. Yo,
Yep.
like if you have any love for G1 Transformers, you've probably already seen it if you are a G1 fan, but if you haven't seen it yet, like, and I'm going to post something on Facebook, like probably tomorrow about this. This is Knight approved. Like, this is the best Transformers creation since 1986,
Hmm.
even better than season three. The Quintessons are in here, man. This had better get another movie. Like it better. If it doesn't, I'm rioting. I'm going to
The,
Paramount.
the only reason that I can see that it wouldn't is the money. Exactly. I think if they're willing to push, they're willing to go far enough to just do it and say, maybe we didn't make enough. I mean, it still only cost them 75 million to make, so they'll break even on it. It's kind of we're in that world where we were with the Dungeons and Dragons movie, where it was a great movie, actually, did not get the love it needs, and now it's going to have to fight for a sequel. I'm not sure this one is quite that far down. Like, I think this is more likely to get a sequel. Um,
Yeah, I'm
but
hoping.
they
I'm hoping.
definitely need to
Can I
do
tell
better
you what the
job.
box office numbers are right now?
What
It's
are
not
they at
looking
now?
good. So budget 75 to 147. That's what it says. Box office 46 million. They're losing money.
Is that worldwide box office?
Um, yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a shame if did not make a sequel because I mean it was such a well-rounded film, you know. Yeah, I mean we had an Optimus Prime Megatron fight that
Hmm.
was super cool. It was super cool, and the freaking visual called back to you know to Optimus Prime and the axe, the energy axe that he
Hmm.
used for one episode. From what I could
Really meets the
remember,
eye, the first
the whole
episode.
whole
No, the
cart.
second episode.
Yeah,
No, it
so
was the first episode. It
well,
was
but
the first episode.
I think, well, in any case, it was just one episode, right? Yeah, the
Yep.
entire
Yep.
It's
original
iconic.
series. It's like, but to bring that, okay, if he uses this, you count on him using it again in the future as well. And then and we definitely want to see more Megatrons, like NG type, bludgeon weapons.
I'm gonna shut up for a second, but when Megatron's gun first appears, oh, like like I was just like the one thing I wish they would have done is if he actually did just transform into the gun. Like I mean I know it's like a bad thing now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's iconic. Like just do it. Don't be scared. Don't make a toy for it. But like in the show, just do the gun. And I'm sure at some point if they make a sequel or whatever they might do it, and Starscream might grab them and just like boom, 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 and like, yo,
Well, yeah, I
uh,
mean, they can do it a few different ways, man. It's like, or a couple different ways at least. Just don't make it like a real actual handgun for one. Make it into some kind of like high tech
Cybertronian.
looking weapon that has still has a resemblance to what it was when it was originally a toy. A
Uh,
toy you
yeah.
wanted.
The only reason that I can see them not doing that is because in the original cartoon, you kind of had the leeway to just say, hey, this thing that is 18 feet tall transforms into something that is, and somehow weighs less. Like, at least with this world, like they kept the transformations, they kept everything
Realistic. They
size.
shrink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean
no match
that's you
shifting.
kind of lose that with Megatron. I think you'd be more likely to see him hand his gun to Starscream than anything else. But um, yeah, it was true. And like speaking of throwbacks, I mean, dude, Megatron or sorry, D16 shot a hole in Orion Pax's chest. Like you got Transformers the movie right there,
Yes. Yeah.
and like the throwbacks were unreal. There were so many. It was incredible. And like I said, my son is the bigger Transformers nerd. For as much as I grew up on them, had the toys, loved them, kid knows everything. And and like he was just like that's blowing. Like he's pointing them out as they go.
As yes, they're all
Yeah,
over the screen.
they're all over the place.
Yeah,
And yeah, I did say when I reviewed that I do think the weakest character, even though she did a good job, was Scarlett Johansson's character.
Aw.
I just think they didn't do anything with her. They had the opportunity to do something with a very good actress and a very interesting character, and she didn't. She's the character. She didn't grow. She didn't change. She didn't do anything. She was just there. I mean, other than she like accepted that this boner is going to take over and be the leader of the Autobots, right? Like, but like she didn't have the growth and the depth that I think they could have given Scarlett Johansson as an actress. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. Like she wasn't a bad performance or anything. I just think that character developed the least and did the least overall, compared to some of the other characters. And that's to me is a shame because I know how good she is.
yeah,
She's
I don't know.
amazing.
It's I mean, I don't know. I guess I just thought she was comparable to be 127's character. I
Yeah.
mean, this was pretty
So what I was
consistent.
gonna say though is that, one thing I also liked was there's even like a Dr. Smoove, like if you've heard of him, like spoof, where it's like the female Autobots are always messing with Shockwave, and it's hilarious. So the fact that like in this movie, not only does she punch him in the eye, and he's like, "You punched me in my eye," then he's like, "Why should we protect you? Why should we follow you?" And then Alita's like, boom, like that, goes, "We will follow you." Like he was just how he's even in this movie, he's getting punked by the female Transformers.
Yeah,
I loved that. They knew what they were doing. Like
Yeah.
it was just authenticity all the way. Who was behind this, like, yo, your love for the franchise really showed, because I think that, I mean, Bay wanted to make G.I. Joe. The only reason why they made Transformers was because after 9/11, they felt like the ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world was not the way to go. So
Yeah, it might
let's
be
do
bad
Transformers
timing.
instead. Yeah, it would have been terrible timing. So like he didn't really care. Like he was just
Well,
like, okay, big truck who's a daddy figure, but make it. Oh, that's the other thing. This was the first movie that is finally about the damn robots again. I feel
yes,
like that's the
yes.
issue that makes like also this stuff hard to sell. I think that, in order to make money, the average human needs to see themselves to care. So I think a lot of people have a hard time identifying with robots. Not everyone, clearly I don't. but clearly your son doesn't. Clearly all three of us don't because we like the damn movie. But I think because the Bay films make gajillion dollars, they're about, Sam Witwicky and like Megan Fox. And that's why the movies did so well. And then Bumblebee is like the comic relief who can't talk, who plays music all the time. And Optimus Prime is surrogate daddy figure, you know? But this movie actually gives like agency. I think I can actually use
Mhm.
that word,
Yeah.
to these robots.
What's funny is that you say um that Michael Bay and how you have to put yourself into. Do you know what Megan Fox's character's name is in the movies?
No, I don't.
It's Michaela Bain. It's Michael Bay. He used his own name and changed it. Yeah, exactly. So, so you're like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what are you doing? And he's a producer on this. Like he actually
Yeah,
did
but
produce this
yeah, I did
film.
see that. But
The only like true Michael Bay touch was that last bit with Optimus Prime doing the, calling all Autobots, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, when he did that, I was like, oh no. I was like, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to
did you
call out
catch how their
every
voices
joke
even changed?
about
Like how like the way Orion Pax starts off, but then by the time he's Optimus, like he has this more commanding like
Hmm.
cadence, and it was just
He
so
did a good
that's
job. Hemsworth did a good
Hems-
job.
Yeah.
I'm getting chills. Like even the idea of like when you put a different like cog in you, like your whole like you transform, like you actually grow. Like that was also from Transformers the movie because before Transformers the movie, we had never, when he said arise Prime, I lost it in my head because it's like arise Rodimus Prime when Rodimus
Mhm.
opens the Matrix in the belly of Unicron. It's like it really like legitimized like as far as I'm concerned. Okay, couple things like it. Forget all the other Transformer stuff. Just watch the original G1 movie and then watch this. Like I liked Arachnia. Arachnia was from Beast Wars. Didn't watch Beast Wars, but it was cool that she was in it. Whatever, that was cool. Little like nod to Beast Wars. But like even now when I watch Transformers the movie, like this 1986 movie, like in my weird ass head canon, now I'm thinking those two used to be friends. So when he goes, one shall stand, one shall fall, and all that stuff, and they're fighting to the death, it's like I'm now replacing like the G1 past with this movie, and it just feels so much better. Because
Mhm.
damn, isn't that crazy how you can be friends, but then actually end up becoming mortal enemies, but also really powerful mortal enemies? Because like Megatron was like uneffable. Like he was literally like that dude, and then Prime shows up, and he actually beats Megatron. The one thing he didn't say was, retreat. That would have been kind of funny because like that's what Megatron always said in the damn
Yeah,
cartoon.
yeah.
Decepticons, retreat. But like he just said, I'm gonna let you go. You're banished. Didn't have to end this way. And he walks away. But we are Decepticons at the end.
Yeah.
I'm all in. Okay. I am now going to be quiet because I love this damn movie and you guys know it. And
it.
I think you guys get the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on through and through. I hope we get out and see it again. Yeah, for sure. But I
I'll
think
buy it.
it's
Yo, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm buying it day one. 100%. 100%. Like there's no question I will own that movie um day one. I think it was great. And I think like I hope they figure out how to make it work financially because there is I saw that they plan it as a trilogy. Like they have two more stories they want to tell.
Oh my God.
Um
Please,
and
Unicron.
We got
yeah.
gotta
Gotta do Unicron. You have to.
I almost feel like it's too early to do Unicron. You don't have
No,
to
no,
go
no. For
there.
the third movie. I'm just saying. But
Maybe it
breadcrumb
depends
is
on
that.
where you go with the second one. Like, do you make a big time jump and then, like, I feel like this next one has to be the actual war for Cybertron itself between the Autobots and the Decepticons, right? Like,
Yes.
you have to have that battle, and then maybe they go to Earth in the third one. Like, but do you even have to tell that story? I don't know. Um, it could be very if you had it planned as a trilogy, the last thing could be them bailing on Cybertron, and then who knows what happens after that, right? But yeah, I think the second one has to be the war,
Yeah.
for Cybertron between these
Yo,
two
even
movies.
Red Alert was there. Like, I'm sorry, like Red
Right.
Alert. Like, he's from the second, so I was like, I want to see more. I want to see Inferno.
Yeah.
I want to see like Smokescreen. I want to see like all like the Constructicons. I want to see Omega Supreme.
Well,
Like, there's so
yeah.
many people you can bring it. Yo, bring in Springer, bring in Ultra Magnus, bring in Hot Rod. Like, just bring them in, but do it
Well,
right.
and now that they've all got their what they call it, their cogs is what they called it, right?
Yes, they got their transformation.
Now that they got those, they are those characters. Like they were kind of
Yes.
the lesser versions of themselves, whatever. Now they're those characters. We haven't seen them be those characters, so I think a second movie gives us an opportunity to really see those characters.
Frankly, they should
So
just make a damn TV series. Like, I feel like there's so much story to tell. Fuck the movies. It's cheaper. Just do it streaming.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, it's like yeah, I mean,
Because I bet you like
straight to
half
video.
the budget was the talent, you
yeah.
know?
Well, and I really feel like the story can't die. It can't die here, right? If it made more sense to get some other actors and do it as a series and keep the quality as close to this as you can,
Hmm.
um, I'd be totally down for that. I'd watch it. It's amazing, but the other gotcha is you have to get those same storytellers in there
Yes.
because if you hand it off to people that don't respect the source material the way that these guys did, it's not going to be the same show or
Oh
the
no.
same story. It has to be those people because they got it.
Yes.
And again, you saw that with all of what made all of those things so beautiful, all of those character cameos in the background, all those things. If you did not know what Transformers was, if you just went and saw this movie, those things aren't in your way. They are not keeping you from enjoying the movies. The you don't have the touch or the power line, friggin' hilarious. And that line works anyways. Like it's
Right.
still funny,
Yeah.
but it means more to us. And that's fine. Like,
Right.
but anybody that's not familiar with it, that's maybe going because their kids wanted to go and they didn't watch Transformers when they were younger or whatever, it still works. It's just
Mhm.
it's better for us than it is for other people. And I think maybe that's part of the problem with the advertising too, is there's something about the ads that made it seem like this was really like a little kids movie.
Yes, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they failed us. They really did.
Hmm.
I would not have seen this movie had you not said, "Hey, Andrew, I think you actually might like it." Like, and I told my older brother, who's a big fan, and he was like, "I didn't even know it was out." So I think to your point, Kev, sometimes they don't put the money out to promote it, but then B, yeah, was all wrong. I think that there was a different angle. They really made this seem like a silly kids movie, and it
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
yeah, that
not.
was yeah. I for a long time I had no plans to see it, and then I got wind of good reviews and stuff like that, and you know, along with Kevin, being part of that group who had seen this extra early, and it's like, okay, well, hey, it's like, okay, it's piqued my interest, Transformers. Why the hell not? It's Josh, let's check this out. And I was very impressed, very impressed. Yeah, thing is, I grew up on both the cartoon series and the comic book, so I'm very familiar with the comic book continuity, the Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
to me, my favorite, you may laugh or you may not get it, but my favorite Decepticon is Shockwave because well, for one, the guy who wrote a lot of this, the stats and the information, background information on the back of the toy boxes with Shockwave, he came through in terms of delivering how lethal and just
In the comics.
cerebral and logical, even like an evil Spock. This guy is the comic writer, the main comic writer for the Marvel US stuff was, yeah, he really hewed very close to, I think, when he or whenever he could, to what was described on the back of the box. I remember like reading the fourth issue of the Transformers. It was supposed to be just a four-issue miniseries that Marvel had no plans to continue it, but thanks to the show and the comic book itself, Transformers was proven to be a success, not just with a toy line, but it was successful as a cartoon, as a comic book, and then so they changed the ending of issue four because I didn't learn this until like recent years, but originally it was just the Autobots win and it was they won the day and that's it. But since Transformers was so successful, um at the very end, even though Optimus Prime got his arm blasted by Megatron, it's like he's missing one arm. It's and Optimus Prime does give a heroic kind of speech. He just celebrates the fact that they got good allies and the few humans that they've worked with wikis here. And but then overhead, a big explosion happens, and all any Transformers that are still standing, which were a few Autobots, they get knocked to the floor, including Optimus Prime. And overhead is this giant laser gun. Giant laser gun. Giant laser gun just floating overhead, transforms into Shockwave. It's like, oh, holy shit, what's this?
Check this out.
And then they continue it. It then becomes an ongoing series. Issue 5 is the iconic Shockwave painting in which you see Shockwave just walking, right?
Along the wall.
And the wall says are all dead, right? Yeah, like some kind of someone like maybe laser, wrote on the wall. And but yeah, and Shockwave, in issue 5, he has all the Autobots hanging upside down like they're on meat hooks, like their torsos on meat hooks. Lower half their body were missing, and Optimus Prime's head has been detached from the rest of his body. He says, and the Autobots in such bad shape. And Ratchet, he's the only Autobot who had survived this kind of like destruction, and he is charged by Optimus Prime to find the Dinobots or to somehow beat the Megatron and Shockwave, and Megatron he gets his leadership challenged by Shockwave, and Shockwave wipes the floor with him. He wipes the floor. So it's like Shockwave, he gets no love from the big screen. It's live action but it's still I still have fun with it, and and when I read certain comics, it's the Shockwave voice from the cartoon series because it's like it's
Sure.
perfect for yeah.
Which is Corey Burton, who also did Spike, which is kind of cool, and Braun, I think.
Wow,
One thing about the screenwriter, so his name is Eric Pearson. There's Eric Pearson and 2 others. What's really cool is that he wrote Thor Ragnarok, Black Widow, Godzilla versus Kong, Thunderbolts coming out, which looks good, Fantastic Four First Steps, and Blade. He's only 39, went to NYU, and entered the Marvel Studios screenwriting program in 2010. But he was born December 14th, 1984. So, homeboy, you were born the same year Transformers came out. So he's the one who's credited, but there's also a guy or 2 people named Andrew Barrer and Gabriel Ferrari. So, but the story is by Andrew Barrer and Gabriel Ferrari. So, props to you guys for knocking this out of the park. I think if you guys are responsible for the damn TV show, if you do it, I think it's in good hands. Yeah, we've talked for probably 50 minutes on this alone. So, yeah, I think we've done it to death, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is basically just go watch the damn movie if you haven't. It's worth whatever the price of the ticket is. If you have to pay $14 to go see it, it's worth it. Like it's good. Like I'm actually kind of jealous of people that saw it on the IMAX. Like I think it would actually be pretty awesome.
Yeah,
on IMAX.
I'm usually so religious about my IMAX watching because when I go watch a movie like this, I'm watching it on IMAX. But the thing is, I had watched Deadpool Wolverine twice on IMAX, right? And the certain battle scenes don't work on IMAX because for one, I'm not a big fan of the jiggle the friggin' camera so damn much when you shoot an action scene. The stylized documentary style for action scenes. It's like and it does not work on IMAX. But with Transformers, you don't have that jiggle the camera nonsense. It's it's very so it works. I think it will work very, very well on IMAX, and I'm sort of kicking myself for now. I haven't seen it on IMAX, but
I keep hoping it'll just get those extra legs, like somebody somehow it'll grab the audience and bring them back in.
I was hoping
bigger
for
third weekend or something.
you
I
do.
actually, now that I think about it, I think I saw that it hasn't released in China yet. So
Okay.
that was something too, is that it hasn't there was a major market that it still hadn't hit. So
Yeah.
there's still a
Oh,
chance that it might be okay.
Oh God, fuck it. The relationship between Optimus Prime and Megatron, the tragedy of their falling out, is the emotional core of the film. For Cooley, who's the director, it was important to show that Megatron was not just a villain. He wanted people who had no knowledge of Transformers to come into the film and not be able to immediately pick up who was going to be good or bad. He took inspiration from several famous brother turned enemy stories from across pop culture when crafting the arc. An original idea for the film was to depict Megatron as a gladiator, I said that, and
Yeah.
have him and Optimus come from different backgrounds. Due to runtime constraints, that idea was scrapped in favor of having the two be bunkmates, working as miners instead. Cooley wanted to capture an epic quality and grand scale for the film and use Transformers the movie, 1986, and Dune as points of reference. So, I mean, there was a lot went right, I think, when this movie was being put together, and it shows. It just sucks that the quote unquote bean counters are going to look at this and be like, see, this is why we need more Megan Fox and less substance.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It was
Mm.
such a well told story. It was such an interesting story. They did a good job not holding back on the darkness. Like it is a darker story, and it's not, like I said, it's not so dark that you can't take your 10-year-old to see
Correct.
it. But like for those of us that are old enough to appreciate it, it's there. Like it's all good. And I think I really hope it gets another one.
Yeah, I already got I already picked up an Optimus Prime and a B-127 at Walmart. A couple of action figures based on the movie. I'm something of an action figure collector, so
Yeah, so is my son, to the point where I have a Hasbro Pulse subscription. So when stuff comes out, I can order it before everybody else from Hasbro. So for him.
guys, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about, but yeah, at least you actually watched a couple episodes of Agatha, Andrew. Yeah, I'm getting behind on my, certain things,
Well, I think what we'll do is I might just have Kevin talk about a few things that he saw, so we can probably just like, we started with four, going to three, then we'll like kind of end off with two, and then we'll edit this episode, and then we'll be able
Yeah.
Yeah.
to go to places.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, yeah, I'll let you do your thing and I'll sign off. But yeah, it's fun and
Yeah.
hope just again sometime.
Yeah,
You
man.
know.
It was great having you.
Pleasure, man. I'm sure he'll be back. We'll talk
Yeah.
about something.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
right. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, thanks so much, both of you.
Hey, man. Have a good night.
Hey, you
Peace.
got it.
And then there were two.
Did you finish Agatha? Like up to where did you finish?
No, I'm on episode three. They're on the road.
Okay.
But I ran out of time, but it's fine. Like I if you can spoil stuff, it's totally fine.
I don't know that I need to spoil anything. I
Oh,
just think we're talking general vibe. I think they nailed it. I think um, it's doing really well. It's been very popular. The song from the first episode was like, or sorry, the second episode, where they all sing together in the basement
I
and open the
loved it.
door. Dude, I friggin' loved it, and it's huge on Spotify. Like it blew up Spotify.
Okay, good.
Um, so like it's that thing where I think the show was done right, so all those like angry incel people can't get involved. Like it's good enough that like even though this is almost entirely female led,
Correct.
um, if for whatever reason this isn't getting the crap that something like The Acolyte had, maybe because it's also there's not at least a character that is, they're in your face as far as the whole woke whateverness. Now, Teen is he's not straight. I think he's got a boyfriend. He gets a phone call. So, but like for whatever reason, like that hasn't like triggered the people that usually seem to get triggered. So I'm stoked for that. Like it feels like it's not getting the bad backlash that a lot of things have been getting lately.
Yeah, and I
And
think the reason why though is because like you're not messing with any like sacred IP,
maybe,
so to speak.
maybe,
I feel like that's why. Like, it's like I think they're just like, okay, that can be your own thing, whatever. Whereas with Star Wars, it's like, nah, this is ours.
yeah,
So, but yeah, no, and I also just think that I'm still kind of wait and see with this. Like, I'm not necessarily like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? But I think that a lot of like what, this Jack Schaefer person, whoever is writing, directing it, like I think they're very slow burning and they're very much like just like we're taking you on a journey, which is I think is what WandaVision did. And I think
Hmm.
this is the same thing. But yeah, no, I definitely like I will say I do think of like teen as kind of like this is like, oh my God, I'm such like a what's the word? Like controversial person, but in a way like a feminist dream, like in a way because like he's just such a meek dude who just follows what they tell him to do. Like he's not a dominant presence at all. Like I when he meets like the witch with the septum ring, I can't stand septum ring, sorry. Like
Yeah,
she's
same
like,
way.
who's this person? Like he's trying to like talk to her and engage her, and she's completely ignoring him, but he's still there because it's like if you're gonna be a male presence, fine, but please be like meek and follow our bidding. I'm sorry. I just feel like that's like kind of like the uber feminist like fantasy, right? Whatever.
Yeah, I
I know
think
it's a
he's
strong statement.
ultimately, well, no, but I think he's ultimately a bigger deal than
I
he's
think
going
it's
to
just,
be.
I think that's the kid. I think that's totally her son. Like I know it might be a little too obvious, but why? But maybe that's the point, you know? But
Yeah,
like why else? Why can't, she you're right. I mean, the storyteller in you is like, come on, Andrew, you're not that like ridiculous. But like or maybe he's Mephisto. Like, who knows? But I love that Mephisto is back. Like the fact that they
yeah.
decided to take this thing from season one and like play with it. That's pretty meta.
Well, and one thing that I really dig about it is that that first episode is 100% them undoing the spell from WandaVision. She's still under a similar spell. She's still living in that TV world, to the point where the opening credits are the characters' names, right? It's not the actors' names. It's not Catherine Hahn and all them. It's the characters' names, and I think they actually did. Like some people complained about how something about how the episode was a TV show again, blah blah. And I'm like, no, they are literally showing her break out of that shell, and I thought that was really cool. I think Catherine Hahn is fantastic.
Yes.
I think she plays this part well, and you'll see some moments, especially in the third episode, um, that maybe you haven't got to yet, where she shows some soft spots, some spots where she's caring about other people.
Hmm.
There's two really great moments, and if you haven't if you haven't started into the beach house
Not
in
yet.
that
Oh wait,
episode,
they
then
just got there. They just
okay.
got there. Where
So
there's the
there,
wine and everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so there's a couple moments in there that I think are very telling about the journey that Agatha's already been on as a person. Like I don't think she's as bad as she wants to be anymore. She might still be at the end of all this, she might still become the villain and all that jazz, but she's our protagonist, right? Like she's for the for everyone around her, she's still the protagonist. She's got Deborah Jo Rupp, Kitty Foreman, who is very much Kitty Foreman from that '70s show. Like almost exactly the same, and it's perfect. And then you've got I wish I could remember what her
Now,
name.
Patty Lupone is someone
She's
that I
amazing.
looked up because I'm like, where have I seen her? I know
Oh,
she's
she's
from some
everywhere.
90s show.
Yeah.
I thought it was Doogie Howser at first, but no, Life Goes On. So
Yeah.
she was the mom in Life Goes
Mhm.
On, but apparently she's a bigger deal than even I realized.
No, she's
Apparently she
huge
was
on
like
Broadway.
Evita.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She won the, I think, Emmy or something for Evita or the Tony, I should say.
Tony. Yeah.
But it's like, no, she's a big deal. So, and I love she's
Mhm.
75. She doesn't look 75. Like,
No,
good
she
for her.
looks
All
great.
those jokes about like her age, but
Yeah.
she's like actually doing amazing. No, I actually, as characters go, I liked their interaction. Like, as far
Hmm.
as they go to the fortune telling thing and she's doing her thing, and then she's like, "Oh, I totally know who you are." Like, that was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I
I
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good moment. Um, yeah, there's just a few, like I said, there's a few subtle things in the third episode, that you'll see that there's a little more heart to her than, like I said, than I think that she wants to have, and
I want to
that
be
plays well.
when you said that earlier, I was going to like tell that to Sparky, but no, because hey, Sparky too. No, but what was I going to say? I will say though, maybe I scare easy, like because the show's so lighthearted, I feel like when it does get scary, you feel it. Like I felt the tension when those like things, maybe witches, were coming down the street, coming into the house,
Hmm.
and was like crawling on the floor, all like unnatural. That creeped me out. I was like, yo, like close the door. Like I'm like, yo, this show is gonna, I think, really get a little under the skin. I feel like.
Yeah,
So,
the third episode has its horror movie moments. Like there's a
yeah,
couple. Now, like I said, for me,
sure.
I don't scare easy anymore.
Okay.
Like I see them and when I look at them and really think about them, I can see how they are, and I think they're well done in the third episode.
Okay.
Um, but I think yeah, it's not pure horror, right? Like we're not talking just terrifying, event horizon level stuff, right? But it's it is scary. It gets dark
Yeah.
and it's not what I like about it is it's not afraid to go kind of really dark and you'll learn just a little bit about these characters in this episode. And I think as they go on, because they're going through trials as they go, I think they said before they got in
Yes.
there, everybody has to face a trial. And I think each one of these is going to kind of unlock backstory for these characters in a very subtle way. We're not talking like Lost, where it goes back and like goes back and forth, and we're really living their past life, but we're seeing moments about them that kind of made them who they are, or put them where they are. And that was really interesting in the third one.
All right. Well, I'll be all caught up after this weekend, and then next time I'm on, I'll be able to speak intelligently to it.
Yeah,
But yeah, WandaVision's worth it.
for sure.
WandaVision. I
Not
mean,
WandaVision, Agatha All Along.
yes.
Yeah, otherwise I haven't watched much to be honest because once you reminded me Bill was coming, I was like, shit, I don't want to waste anything. And I was really, it was really cool having him on. I thought he was a fascinating guy. Um, the only other thing that I really watched this week, I know that Speak No Evil came out with James McAvoy in in theaters, and I think it's done pretty well. But nobody or a lot of people don't know that it was a Dutch film first,
Mm.
just a couple of years ago. Uh, and amazingly, most of it is in English. Um, and it's on Shutter. I don't know if you could find it anywhere else. Um, but I haven't watched the McAvoy version. I've heard they changed the ending of the McAvoy version and made it more American. So, like to me, I'm like, I know what they did. Um, but the original is some dark, dark shit. Like it is a heavy movie. It is not uplifting. It does not have a happy, joyous ending. It's dark. It's one of those movies that when it's over, you're like, well, fuck, like this. The other movie that I watched that was like that was called Eden Lake. I don't remember if I talked about that on the show. I may have, but that stars Kelly Riley from Yellowstone and Michael Fassbender. And they go camping at this lake that he used to grow up at. And now it's overrun by like kind of like Okies type people in whatever they are in the UK. And they just harass the shit out of him. And that movie just goes dark and darker and darker and darker. And then just has the ending where you're just like, well, fuck. Like it's you just like it is hard, it is depressing, but it like fits the tone of the story. And it's a very much like this is probably how it would really happen in real life. Because I think of something like The Descent. If you ever saw The Descent, where they go into the cave, it's all the girls they're spelunking and they get trapped in there, and
I saw the
there's like
beginning of it.
monsters.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good. Well, the ending in the UK, bleak. Like it does not end in like a great spot. In the American version, oh, she wakes up all happy, like some of this stuff was a dream or whatever, blah blah blah. And it's just a little happier. And it's because like, and they talk about it. They're like, Americans can't handle the depressing shit. They're like, we just know that if we're gonna put it out in the US, we got to put a little rainbow at the end, or everybody gets all. Guess what? Because people still talk about the ending of The Mist. If you've ever seen
Right.
them, like,
I haven't seen it, but I know that apparently I know the end. It's kind of a twist, I think, right? Like he just has to end up like killing his family or some shit.
yeah. So like the idea is that they're on the run. They've run out of gas. They're in the car. The monsters are coming. They have a gun with I don't know what 5 bullets, 5 people in the car. And so They're like, well, we would rather die on our own terms than be torn apart by these monsters. And so our main character takes the gun, shoots everybody in the car. One of them is his kid, shoots his kid, goes to shoot himself. The gun does not go off. He can't, so he survives. Minutes later, the military rolls in, puts these monsters down, clears everything out. And so the last scene of him is seen as him outside of his car, just obviously breaking down. And it's like, and that's the end, dude. Like, there's no uplifting moment after that. It's heartbreaking and it's brilliant. Like, it is an amazing ending. It's messed up with, like, to me, like a horror movie should kind of have a messed up ending. Like, there's no reason to put a happy ending at the end of a horror film.
The last movie that
Uh,
actually left me that way, like kind of disturbed, but like damn, was of course, and maybe I'm easy, but like the Late Night with the Devil. Like I was like,
yeah,
damn,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. To be, yeah,
Like
exactly. Like that one
that
ends and
was
you're,
crazy.
yeah, you're like, okay, well, yeah, okay, bye. Like, like that was horrible. Thank you. But like, great movie, right? But just like, yeah, there's no happy ending in that story. Like, just you can't do it. So yeah, I think sometimes you need that in a horror film, and it was weird because the Speak No Evil is a little slow at first, and I was like, I don't know if I'm into this. And then when it really starts picking up and you start putting together what's going on and all that, and it starts to unravel everything, and then the way it ends, like that's why it works. If you give it a happier ending, I think you take away the stuff that works. Although I'm seeing generally positive things about the McAvoy one, so it may be okay, but I definitely, if you can handle that bleakness, because it is a more bleak ending, the original is very good.
You know me, man. I'm all about the darkness. So
Dude,
I that you sold me.
I would tell you to check out Eden Lake. Like that one's it's it's rough, like to watch. Like it's just it, it's like deliverance. Like you're just stuck in the backwoods and shit is just not going your way, and it just never ever ever does. And it's like it's heavy. It's not long. I think it's only like 90 minutes, but
Even better.
it's intense the whole time,
Yeah.
and it is really good. And then the ending, you're just like, well, fuck, like just ah,
I just remember too, Penguin is getting a lot of good buzz.
I loved it. I really liked
Okay.
it. I watched the first one, definitely recommended the second one. It was weird. They released the first one, and I thought they were going to do the second one the following Sunday.
Hmm.
So I thought they were going to be like 3 days apart, but they did like a week and a half apart.
Oh
So the
wow. Okay.
second episode doesn't come out till tomorrow. So I don't know what they were doing there. I wish they had just released the first one on Sunday. But it's really good. I really dug it. I think I talked about it last week, but
Yeah.
it's solid so far. But
Yeah.
number one, that there's no friggin' way that's Colin Farrell. Like it's unreal. Like the physical transformation they do with him, the acting. I like that this is the character from the Batman, but like developed. And then Kristen Milioti, who
Yes.
is
Black
she's
Mirror.
yeah, dude, she is she is damaged in this. She is crazy in the best way. Like she's scary.
Good.
Like she's scary, scary, which is great because she's usually kind of cutesy, you know.
Yes.
Um, and no, she's scary. And then uh her mom is going to be played by the Indian actress from The Expanse, Shore Agdashloo.
Oh, good. She's amazing.
I love her. Yeah, I didn't know
I
she was
want
going to be in it.
the first time I remember her was actually from X-Men: The Last Stand. So like
Yeah,
even her role wasn't that huge, but it was enough to where I remember her.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I actually I haven't seen her in anything I didn't like. So, but
No, she's immensely talented. Like she's got such a cool voice. Like
yes,
and so I'm stoked to see her. Like Penguin's off to a good start for
cool.
sure. Definitely
Good
watch
for
it.
DC. They need all the hits they can get. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah. But I think overall, like this was a pretty like epic episode. On a corny note, it's good to be back. I
yeah,
had a whirlwind time for the last what 8 weeks.
yeah.
But
You've been
but I need me some APNC in my life, and it feels like home.
Good. Good. Yeah. We're good. Glad to have you back. Glad that you're back so that you can not come back next weekend.
Yeah, but after that, I should be good for a while. It's
That's
just
fine.
stay single. No.
Right. Yeah. I'm not editing that out. I'm,
Don't, whatever. It's all good.
uh,
I'm smiling. I said it with a
yeah.
smile. There
Yeah.
you go.
Did she just spent like weeks with you. She's probably the same way. She's like, yeah, I should have stayed single.
Yeah, probably. I love you. Mwah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. No, like I'm glad you guys had a good time. I saw a bunch of pictures on Facebook and stuff. Look like a lot of fun. So,
Yes.
uh, well, cool. Then with that, I will say to everybody at home, whatever you've watched has been a whirlwind. I think this is probably going to drop in two separate chunks, because I don't think I can put out 3 hours worth of stuff. Um, but I'll say again, even though if I edit it into two parts, he's not here. Having Bill Spangler on was amazing. He's a very interesting guy, very cool, very friendly. I really enjoyed his time. And then obviously, having Bryant on, very cool. Need to talk to somebody new, especially somebody that loves this stuff in a different way. Like he definitely has a knowledge about the stuff that he enjoys, that is deep for sure. And then obviously having you back, and then next week it sounds like it'll be me and Lauren, and then after that maybe we'll actually have the three of us again. So,
That's the
or
plan.
actually maybe we won't. I know she's going to be out soon too. It may be next week. I may be by myself next week.
Well, you know
Terrifying.
what? Those episodes, they're pretty cool though. I think this
I
is
do my
enjoyable.
best. I do my
Yes.
best. I think if I am by myself, I may talk about the VHS series. I've been watching that horror film series.
Huh.
Since we're running into October, so got to get my horror films in. So, but cool. All right then. Well,
Oh.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think I could be wrong. Isn't like the last I could be wrong. I could have swore like The Conjuring. Like, isn't there like a Conjuring movie coming out soon or something like that?
There. I don't know if it's this year, but there is one more. Like
Yeah,
they've said, there's one last one. Um.
you're right. It's Last Rites. It's 2025. Darn it.
Okay. Yeah.
I was getting excited because I mean, yeah, The Conjuring is just like we had her like that was last year, but like I was all about that series, man. That was
It's a
fun.
good series for sure. For sure. VHS is a weird one. I started it, and it's a found footage like series about effectively like people that collect weird tapes, and they're all on VHS, and it's interesting for sure. So, yeah, maybe I'll talk about that next week, especially if I'm by myself. I'm all alone and nobody can stop me. But we'll see. So with that, for everybody at home, I will say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.